What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Join us alongside Emilio in Tennessee. Jacob will be back in a minute. Let me tell you, he's fit to be tied tonight. He's mad. So we got a lot of stuff to dive into here. We're going to cover the offensive updates from training camp day 3. We're really excited to get into all that. We'll hit the defense. We'll hit the updates on the injuries. And we've also got a nice little piece on Isaiah Simmons, who seems to be turning heads in Packers training camp a bit as well. So before we do all that, need y'all to do that YouTube stuff for us. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. We appreciate you making us a part of your evening. Listen, we're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. What we are fans just like you in here talking Packers on the daily. You'll also get a bunch of extra content throughout the year. We're going to be doing live streams for pregame shows, postgame shows. We'll be doing film breakdown, the whole 9 yards. So make sure you're subbed and click that bell notification so you don't miss out every time we go live. Jacob, let's do a quick test, man. How we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, that's pretty solid right there. That's squeaky clean.
That's clean.
We got Emilio back in the great state of Tennessee now, I imagine. I'm guessing you didn't pack all that stuff up.
No, that'd be a challenge. But yeah, no, a little bit of airline trouble. You know how it goes, delayed a few hours each time. And besides that, glad to be back. Excited to see everybody. Trying to catch up on some pods today.
I think I've slept more in airports than I have my own bed, to be honest with you, man. I'm telling you right now. And don't get me started on Atlanta. Nobody wants to hear that.
Somebody backed the luggage cart into the loading door, so we had to wait for maintenance to fix it while we were on the plane. You know, yeah, it took like an hour and a half, so no worries.
Oh, my God. All right, let's get this party cranked up with a super chat from Josh Martin. Appreciate you, Josh. He says, how's Bo Melton doing at the cornerback position? You know, I haven't heard a whole lot about it, Josh, other than he's playing corner. The only news I've really heard, and I'll allow you guys to answer that same question, is it sounds like they see him predominantly as a corner now. I think Matt LaFleur kind of made that pretty obvious, and obviously they changed his number to number 16. Not that really matters all that much, but the way I took Matt LaFleur's wording and his communications in the press conference a couple of days ago was Bo Melton's a corner now. So not sure how you guys feel about it. Jacob, Emilio, y'all got anything to add to that?
I mean, I think that's fair to say. We talked about yesterday how it's a little dubious that he's sharing a number, I believe, with Clifford, so that doesn't quite bode well for him. But I really do think that the best way he's going to make this team is probably at that cornerback position. We've talked about how he's also really good as a gunner, probably our best gunner, special teams guy. And I think he's at that point in his career where he's not too proud to maybe make – I wouldn't call it a step back. I would call it a lateral move, trying to save his NFL career in any way he can. Obviously, his brother Max, I believe, he plays corner, so it's not like it's too that far out of the realm of possibility that he could possibly take that step. And I think that's probably the lowest area of confidence that the team has right now is that cornerback room, maybe the linebacker room as well. But there's definitely a chance that he could sneak in there as a 4 or 5.
Yeah, Ron Sample says Bo looks pretty natural as a corner. Let's see here. Our boy 2-0 for this says Bo looks smoother at corner to me than wide receiver. I agree with that based off of the little bit of, obviously we haven't seen game speed yet, but Joseph in the chat said it was the only way he was going to make the roster. I think there's probably quite a bit of truth to that as well.
The way Matt kind of said it, Clay, in his presser there was, we already know what we have with him at wide receiver. Let's see what we can do at corner just because we already know what he is at special teams. So he's helpful to this team. If we could have him be, 60% more helpful rather than like 30% as a wide receiver, absolutely. Let's put him over there and let's get those reps.
Definitely. All right, let's jump into the injury report and kind of injury updates from camp today, and then we'll get into the offensive side of the ball and everything we learned.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Coach Wes Heikowitz put a tweet out, Packers camp number 3, not practicing. Guard Aaron Banks, who's got a back, all right, and I think they confirmed later he's day-to-day. So it's not like a huge concern. It's just a precautionary type thing. Wide receiver Savion Williams, you guys know he missed practice yesterday and nobody knew why. Well, we finally got that information. He actually had a concussion. Okay, so Savion Williams concussion there. I'm not overly concerned about that, to be honest with you. I was really worried the way Matt answered the question was like he answered the question by not answering the question essentially. And I was going, oh, no, what is this? So linebacker Quay Walker with an ankle not practicing, although we'll show you some footage here in a second that Tim got right there from practice, boots on the ground earlier today, him doing a little bit of rehab. Wide receiver Christian Watson, the knee. Defensive end Colin Oliver, it's a hamstring for Colin Oliver, okay? So that's what that is a hammy. And then running back Amar Johnson, same thing, got a hamstring. Offensive lineman John Williams and Elton Jenkins, back injuries as well. So you've got 3 offensive linemen with sore backs right now. And I know some people believe that Elton Jenkins, that's just he's not really hurt. I don't know, man. The way Goody talked about it, they're expecting him to play on the contract he's got. I think they may have tweaked something there, to be honest with you. So what do y'all think about those injuries? Are we overly concerned? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm right here with Blake B. Mountain Man. We got Morgan, Escalade, and Glover. We are good. Early tweaks to the backs. Obviously, it's going to happen. You're just getting into training camp, everything like that. So I think that you're going to have those. The way Goody was talking about John Williams, that one's going to be a little bit longer. I almost, the way he kind of was saying it when it got brought up with Christian, is that I would almost feel that he's pushing to be on IR, maybe when they start or pup or something like that, just so that they can get him through. Mm-hmm. And Elton, heal up. Obviously, we need him for the regular season. Not too worried about it. Aaron Banks still early, so
yeah. Joseph in the chat says if it was the playoffs, they'd all be playing, maybe minus Watson. I agree with that. I think that's a great point, Joseph. All precautionary here. And Amelia, I don't think it's any coincidence. I'm pretty sure you're helping run Matt Schneidman's Twitter account. As soon as you get back into town and get internet. Matt Schneidman tweeted out, LaFleur says Aaron Banks is day-to-day with a back injury. That's why Travis Glover took reps at starting left guard in multiple team periods yesterday. So, Jacob, what do you think about that injury list, man? Anything there concern you? Or the one that sticks out to me, Jacob, I want to get your take because I'm sure you probably thought of the same thing. When I see Colin Oliver hamstring, I immediately think Clay Matthews hamstring because it was just always bothering Clay in training camp. What do you think about that injury list? Anything there concerning you?
Obviously, I'd like to have all these guys healthy. The Colin Oliver thing with the hamstring, I was worried it was something a little more serious with him, so I'm a little bit actually relieved that it is something like a hamstring because, give it a little bit of time. The Savion Williams one does concern me a little bit. I think if you're referencing the press conference LaFleur did, I actually wrote it down because they asked the injury about Savion Williams, and he kind of smiled and asked, and I think he said something like, ask Wohlers, whatever that meant. I didn't know what he meant by that, if that was a coach or if that's
probably the trainer, I would imagine. Yeah. Probably
the trainer. And so I was just like you, I was kind of confused by that answer and the non-answer, really. And I guess I'll mirror what Mountain Man Pack says. He says, Banks worries me a lot already being hurt. That is a little suspect, especially anytime you hear back injury and then you look and you see that 3 offensive linemen have back issues. Yeah. I don't like that. Like you that, Jan.
Hey, dude, the back stuff, Emilio will tell you, it was last Monday, and everybody's going to go, oh, come on, Clay, you draw a parallel here. I was weed-eating the bank, and let me tell you, boys, when you see a back injury, if you've ever had a back injury, I've got 2 ruptured – I ruptured 2 discs about 13 years ago, and it still bothers me to this day. Got vertebrae sitting in there sideways, right? Tweaked it this past Monday. Humbling experience, man. It's a humbling experience. So, Jacob, I know what you're saying. The thought of having to play with the physicality you do as an offensive lineman and anchor your feet, anchor your back, anchor your hips, kind of, you know what I'm saying? God, it literally makes my skin crawl thinking of the pain if you have any kind of back trouble. So, a little bit concerning there for me too, Jacob. I understand that. So, Quay Walker, I feel real good about where Quay's at. The fact that they've already got him out there and trying to get him back in the routine is Tim caught this footage earlier today. Just him over there off to the side, a little bit of rehabbing, right? A little bit of just kind of going through the motions and getting ready, that type of thing. So he was out there, had the helmet on, ready to go. It's just
get ready to go
out there. So, and again, with Quay, it's the ankle. You had the cleanup. I think we're going to get the best version of Quay Walker this year, Jacob, because it sounds to me like he's been playing on a bum ankle for the last year and a half, to be honest with you. They finally got in there and cleaned that up.
Yeah. I always kind of get confused by that terminology, the cleaning it up kind of thing. It's just a little weird there. But I expect a lot out of Quay Walker this year, and I think that this is definitely his time. We've talked about how with him lined up next to Cooper, and correct me if I'm wrong, Amelia, that only happened 1 game last year. So I'm excited to see
only
what
one
can actually
start.
happen with that linebacker room. One start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that it's going to be exciting to see him when they're both out there full time, see what's going on. We're not going to get that obviously until week 1, but just seeing him back out there from that injury, ankles, anything lower with your feet, you're pushing off. It's I'm glad to see him out there. Tim, obviously the eye in the sky over there, crushing it.
Yeah, Coach Lynn, Quay looking huge here. Dude, the thought of Quay and our boy Edgerrin Cooper on the field at the same time, especially with Edgerrin Cooper packing 240 pounds out there with him this year. As Bungie Cheddarbug says, with Quay and Cooper getting on the field together, this should be fun, especially with Cooper running with the edge groups. Man, was he effective last year when we blitzed with him? And I'm a very boring defensive mind. Me personally, I want 7 in coverage at all times. I want to keep everything in front of you, kind of bend but don't break, and I know that drives fans crazy. It's really what you saw last year, man. You've seen some simulated pressures, which simply means you're showing a blitz and you're still dropping 7 into coverage. And I'm telling you, that's the way to go in the NFL. Limit those explosive plays, which triples an offense's chances of scoring on that current drive. I think that's the way to go. But when you see Edgerrin Cooper in that highlight, not only coming through, pretty much scot-free on Matthew Stafford there against the Rams last year, but the way that Stafford tried to spin out of that, and he still had the ability to change directions and bring him down. Then, of course, you've seen the blitz where they were running a little bit of a stunt, and he was supposed to occupy a double team. But just so happens he fights through the double team and gets sacked. You know what I mean? He's a demon out there. I'm really
and isn't he
thick?
Yes.
This year, I mean, didn't he get 20 pounds on him? So I'm excited to see what he can do down inside. Those scrapes and everything. We saw some of that at Tennessee. So keep adding it to the repertoire.
Definitely 240 plus pounds now, man. Coach Lynn says ankle looks good to me. I agree, Coach. I think Quay's looking healthy there. So anything else on the injury front I missed, Jacob? Anything you might have seen heard earlier today? Anything at all?
Nope, nothing more.
All right, good deal, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for fighting through the delay too, man. I know you're aggravated, but yeah, you're coming through clear. We're just a little delayed. I appreciate you, man. All right, offensive line. All right, let's get into it. Matt Schneidman tweeted out, first offensive line today with no Elton Jenkins or Aaron Banks. So from left to right, we got Rasheed Walker, Jordan Morgan, Sean Ryan. This surprised me. Jacob Monk at right guard, and then Zach Tom. That I kind of like that they're trying Jacob Monk a little more often at different positions other than just backup center. Who knows, man? You may look up and he'd be a better guard than a center. That could be the case. But Sean Ryan, man, starting to gain a little bit more respect for him. If you guys didn't read the tweets and the coverage from Rob Domofsky on how he missed out on that $2 million bonus last year, I think it was $2 million on the escalator bonus. He missed it by just a handful of snaps. And he's just putting his head down and working, man. And the fact that, Jordan Morgan couldn't run away with the right guard spot last year because Sean Ryan was playing, just as good as Jordan Morgan when he was healthy. And now he's pretty much become our backup center, it sounds like. I don't know how you feel about that, Emilio, but if Sean Ryan proves to be a serviceable center, boy, oh boy, the value there is unbelievable.
Yeah, because he can play all 3 positions in the middle there. So I think that his ability to be versatile is what got him to this point. Him being willing to try anything for the team has got him there. Obviously, like we've covered before, didn't start off great for him for his career, but he's turned it around. He's put his head down and he got to work. When Matt said he was a little thick, right? Clean that up, and just everything he's done to get to this point is huge. So yeah, let's give him first team reps as center with without Elton there, and let's make sure that in a pinch he can go in. How many times did we need to pull a backup center this past year into the game? So I think that it's very important, and I'm glad that they are also now kind of maybe giving that Sean Ryan opportunity to Monk, and let's move him around too and see what else he can do.
Go ahead, Jacob. Your take on the offensive line here, man.
Yeah, I believe I saw that it was Coach. He said that Ryan missed it by 2 holding calls, and he also had a comment talking about how there was no Belton on this lineup, which is a little interesting to him. I'm just happy that I see Jordan Morgan cracking into this thing, and it is nice to see Jacob Monk getting played at different positions. Like Amelia just said, we kind of hit that panic button around the second half of that Eagles game where we just fell apart in the trenches. And I think that this year they saw that, they understood what the problem was, and they're going to find a stopgap to really make sure that doesn't happen again. And we're trying everything and anything in the beginning of the camp, and that's the time to do it, you know?
Yeah. Now's the time to do this, Jacob. That's for darn sure, man. Morgan taking reps at left tackle now with Glover at right guard. So you like to see Morgan taking some snaps at left tackle.
Here's a guy.
You know, isn't it funny that I think we would all agree that the team seems to be leaning toward just letting Rasheed Walker walk in free agency. No pun intended. But at the same time, who's the guy that's always available? Who's the guy that you never hear about, right? It's did you just say Glover? It's always Walker. Walker is always available. He's always healthy. He's just kind of steady Eddie. And I'm sitting over here going, man, if I'm him, I am playing mad this year, you know? And I understand you can't pay everybody. Like I've talked about the blueprint, the precedent that's been set by this front office, even that really predates Goody, you know? I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it just kind of sticks out to me when I see this. It's like, you know, like you said, Melton was nowhere to be found, right? You got Aaron Banks with a back injury. Elton Jenkins got a back injury. Rasheed Walker just over there doing his damn job all the time. You know what I mean, Emilio?
Yeah, absolutely. He's playing to get paid this year, right? It doesn't matter who he's getting paid by. If it's not the Packers, whatever. But if he plays, you know, top 15 left tackle, top 20, whatever, he'll get paid handsomely. And then the Packers would be happy with that because they get a comp pick out of it. So it's kind of a win-win. So he's not playing. It's not hurting him being out there to play. But I do think he's, like you said, going to kind of play mad. Let's get this money for me, myself. I mean, I'll do this for the team, obviously, but I also got to look out for myself.
Yeah, Jake, if you get anything here, Jordan Morgan taking reps at left tackle, you'll never know if he can be a franchise left tackle, which is the position he played in college, unless you get him out there and get him reps, right?
Yeah, that's true. And I believe that Morgan played almost predominantly left tackle basically his whole career. So if there was to be a guy, you guys know, I actually really love Rasheed Walker. I think I've made that pretty clear. I really don't quite understand the glaring need. It seems like that they want to replace him. If it was me at, in the front office, and thank God it's not, but if it was me, I would have been very content with Walker, and I probably would have thrown a lot of draft capital in other places. But that's me. And again, I obviously it's because I think he's very, very passable and very serviceable as a passing tackle. I think that there's something about this team that makes it clear that they want to get bigger, bulkier, and be more of a road grading type run. Or I said multifaceted type offensive line. And maybe they just don't see that in Walker's repertoire. So yeah, I kind of understand what they're doing.
As Ron Sample says here too, save $20 million on Jenkins and Walker is cheaper. Not saying to do it, but it's an option. We kind of talked about it last night, right, Ron? I could see that playing out. Emilio, I know you've been out of town, and get your take on this. What if the plan is let Rasheed Walker play this year out, right? And as you get a little deeper into the season, maybe you do want to extend him if you feel like, okay, this dude is just too valuable for us to let him go, and you don't give Elton Jenkins any more guaranteed money. You just cut Elton Jenkins loose next year, free up $20 million in cap space, and maybe you can get Rasheed Walker for 10 to 12, maybe 13 million per. That would make a lot of sense too, right?
Yeah, I think that's possible. The other thought I was kind of thinking here was kind of what Bundy was saying. Look at the deal we just got with Tom. I'd be interested to see what Walker expects to get paid. Maybe to kind of tie all that together, they paid Zach Tom this. Walker stays here to get paid what compared to what Zach Tom just got paid, who's been here, been steady Eddie.
Right.
Walker hasn't been completely that. Let's see where it gets to. I think that's a complete possibility. We're able to kind of move some money around. It sucks for Elton, right? If they're not going to get that done, but it's kind of the business we have. If we have a lot of young talent, you would think that Goody in the squad would lean on the young talent, pay him, get a couple years under him and keep moving forward instead of chasing the older talent.
Yeah, Joseph in the chat says Walker needs to clean up the pre-snap penalties and get more physical in the run. I agree with that. Coach Lynn says left tackle has to be able to pass block first and foremost, in my opinion. Completely agree, Coach. That's the top priority. Any position across the offensive line, history dictates that the Packers have always prioritized pass blocking over run blocking. However, we have to mention the only thing keeping Rasheed Walker from being a top 5 left tackle in the game is his run blocking. Pass blocking's just as good as anybody, to be honest with you. So, all right, let's move it along here. Next thing here, we've seen a little bit of a Tay Wicks sighting. And listen, this is just, I know routes on air and everything, but it sounds like he had a decent practice too. But shout out to Matt Schneidman for putting this tweet out here. You see our boy Dontayvion Wicks working. I think Jason Wilde said that he had a good conversation with Wicks. And you guys go follow Jason, and I'm sure he'll write an article on Channel 3000. Make sure you give that a click and a view and show him some love over there. But I think he said when talking to Dontayvion Wicks, Jacob, that he said he got kind of caught up in reading the press clippings last year. Not like, hey, I've arrived, but he said he found himself counting snaps and all those things that players go through. Like when you're looking at practice reps, you're looking at game day reps, kind of like what Romeo Doubs went through last year, And we know Matt LaFleur loves wide receiver by committee, but I don't know, man. I'm still holding out hope that Dontayvion Wicks is going to return back to his rookie form. What do you think, Jacob? How you feel about Wicks here going into the season?
Yeah, I mean, we know that going into this season that obviously the front office didn't care if we had a bunch of quote unquote playmakers. They wanted to throw 2 more guys in the mix and just say, you guys go and compete. And, I actually watched an interview with Matthew Golden and with Jordan Reed, and how they, not Jordan Reed, Jane Reed, how they just kind of have embraced that and realized that, hey, we weren't good last year. We weren't perfect by any means. We had a lot of things to clean up. He talked about how the whole wide receiver room as a whole kind of took that, not personally, but understood the assignment and have kind of, manned up in a sort of terms and just decided that we're not going to sit here and sulk about it. And it is good to hear him talk about that, because it makes sense that he maybe would have been something in his head. We could see that there was a drastic, decline from what we've seen from Dontayvion Wicks in prior year, just what we've seen from the way that he can have a ceiling. I really do think that when he's firing on all cylinders, he can be a really, really good offensive weapon in this league in multiple facets. The way he runs his routes, you see that how clean that is, how effortless it is. I mean, there was talks, early in his career, how he was having route running ability like Devontae Adams, you know what I mean? And that's very high praise for a guy to just get out of college, especially a guy, if you guys remember, that didn't necessarily want to be a football player. He was more into basketball, if I'm not mistaken, and then kind of made the late turn in his career that he realized that the way he's going to go pro is in football. So it's a little bit of a slump maybe coming into that this last year, but I think that he is more dedicated to come around and turn that around. And I'm excited because this year, I mean, we have so many weapons, man. Which one are you going to stop?
Right. This dime piece here from Jordan Love too, man. That's a short drop. He just lets that thing rip, too.
I'm glad you said that, Clay, because I've just been sitting here staring at it. That's a 20-yard out route starting. Wicks is starting inside the numbers, running a 20-yard out. Jordan lets it go basically at the top of his stem, and it's a dot right at 20 and a half yards, drops it right there on the sideline.
A beautiful throw, man. Beautiful.
What a ball. What an absolute ball. Then Emmanuel Wilson there with the little dot right there in the running back training there at the beginning of the shot.
Yeah. Look in the background, too. I think that's Matthew Golden way back here in the background. Watch a leaping grab right there. Look like him. He looks so twitchy. I'm excited about Golden. The closer we get to the first time seeing him on the field against, I'm looking forward to the joint practices. That's what I really want to see Matthew Golden stack up against other opponents there. Coach Lynn says Wicks needs to keep stacking practices. Good start to camp. 2-0 for this says, people who've been writing off Wicks are going to learn to. I love it. Love that energy. Derek K pointed out Devontae Adams took 3 years. I mean, I remember like it was yesterday. There were fans after year 2 screaming, cut Devontae Adams. You're talking about a Hall of Fame wide receiver now. So you got to be careful with that stuff. Clint, armchair quarterback, said that Love has time to throw with all these receivers. Watch out. Coach Flynn, the hype for Wicks last summer was real. No hours to be what's it say? No what?
Hours gets to be a sleeper.
Yeah, I think I'm too drunk to taste that chicken. I'm sure I'm just misunderstanding what he's trying to say there. But yeah, I think Wicks is going to be a solid player, man. I do. I think I'm holding out hope to this year that he's going to be a lot better shape than he was last year in terms of the drops. Now, Wes Hokowitz tweeted this out. Matthew Golden end around, check. Malik Willis read option keeper, check. Golden catch off motion, check. So they're starting to use Matthew Golden in the motion sets, right? And you guys know when we did Chalk Talk and broke that down, Matthew Golden's tape from Texas, a lot of moving Z, a lot of end around stuff there. I mean, they used him basically the same way that we use Jaden Reed, and people say, okay, he's a slot. Nope, you're not. If you think that Jaden Reed is just a slot receiver, you're not paying attention. Like it's a moving Z. Greg Cosell talks about it a lot. These guys have got to be able to play outside. They got to play inside. They got to understand all the choice routes, no matter if they're lined up on the right, on the left. You got to be ready to take a touch pass, and end around. Oh, by the way, the zipper boomerang motion, everything. It looks like they're really starting to dabble with Matthew Golden and getting him pretty deep into the playbook, Emilio.
Yeah, Matt was talking about that, right? The more people, he said, obviously you wish everybody can do it, but they were asking, specifically if we're going to get Matt Golden more involved in that. Yeah, obviously, if we can do that, if he can do that, that's going to keep the team guessing, the defense guessing a lot more, being able to move him around, do the same thing with Jaden Reed, rotate them in and out. You don't know who's going to get the ball. Imagine two separate motions. Reed does an orbit, resets, then you get Matthew Golden on a jet across or something like that. You can really get it, crazy. Matt must have been playing a little college football, Clayton, because I'm telling you, it's like, you remember that whip route that Devontae had on the goal line where he kind of comes in motion, gets a quick set and back. It's just getting your feet moving before the play starts. How is that not a benefit to, one of your top receivers or anybody with that kind of speed and twitch?
Yeah, you would cheat. He would cheat from slot right, back to the 2 left. So as he's going across, you're getting them kind of their momentum going outside, and then he cuts inside, and now they got to redirect, and now he's redirecting on the whip route. That's just
so nice. Yep.
Yeah, good luck. You have a better chance of pulling a butt cheek than getting that route coming for sure. All right, up next, this was our buddy Wes Hodkowitz who tweeted this out as well. And, we showed you Wicks on the routes on air and all that. Well, Packers restacked the number 1 2-minute drill, and Love hits Wicks on a deep crosser for 49-yard touchdown. So you're seeing Wicks show up time and time again here on the updates. Like I said, really, really excited about what Tay Wicks was going to do. Now, the last one on the offensive side of the ball, it's really special teams, but, hey, it's leading to points, so let's talk about it. Can we just take a brief second and show appreciation for the fact that we got Brandon McManus? He's now 15 of 15 during 2 open practices, 9 for 9 today. This was from Matt Schneidman. On his 34th birthday, he had makes from 33, 33, 38, 40, 41, 41, 43, 44, 46, 46, 46, 48, 51, 51, and 56. That sounds like the age grouping on Jacob's last 5 dates there. I'm so excited that our boy Brandon McManus is a Green Bay Packer. And we get him, on a 3-year deal? Wasn't that what the extension was, a 3-year extension?
Yeah.
I'm going to double check. What do you think about these makes here, man? Does this not make you just breathe easy when knowing that if a drive stalls, you're just about going to slam dunk, get 3 points?
Yeah, I think that we're missing out on a little bit of the kicker talk payments that we had last year, but I'm happy for it, honestly, Clay, because this is all we were waiting for last year, right? We wanted it to be Anders. It wasn't. We wanted it to be I honestly can't even remember everybody else we had. I feel like it was just a flurry of kickers that just didn't end up working out. Let's go get the kicker that, we know we need, kicked in big situations, and, look at this consistency. Basically just started walking them back, keep going, keep going, keep going. Let's see what you can do. Move them hash and hash. I love that on a 34th birthday, happy birthday. Let's get it this year. In the fact that he hit a walk-off in his first game, the dude does have ice in his veins. I mean, that's a key to being a kicker. You can't get shoved.
Yeah. Clint, the armchair quarterback, gifting 10 Packers Total Access memberships. Thank you so much, Clint. Appreciate you. So 10 random people in the chat will be entered into the giveaway that we're going to be doing this week, and probably on Sunday night show. We're going to be giving away an autographed Dontayvion Wicks rookie card. Really, really cool piece of memorabilia that was donated from our good friend Rick Kruger, a listener of the show. So if you want to enter yourself into that, either hit that join tab here on YouTube and join as a member here on the YouTube page. Or what I recommend is go to Patreon, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. And $3 get you access to everything in the Patreon group and also get you entered into the giveaways. Also, Jacob is, I hate that I keep saying his internet has nothing to do with his internet. His internet's faster than mine. It's StreamYard that keeps glitching out. So he's heading up our fantasy league. So again, if you guys were in the fantasy league last year, the midnight Sunday is the cutoff. Make sure you go answer that email and get entered back into the fantasy football league. If not, we got a bunch of people lined up that wants to join from our Patreon group. Just another perk of being in the Patreon group. So again, that's patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Clint, thank you for that donation and gifting those 10 memberships here on YouTube as well. So, all right, let's shift gears and move over to the defensive side of the ball. Unless you got anything else on offense, Emilio, anything else you want to hit on offense, bro?
No, just you guys have been talking a lot about Glover since I've been gone, so I'm just glad he's
you're all filled up. Love it. All right, Mr. G himself, Tim, was in-house today, and of course, he was just hovering on the defensive side of the practice here, Emilio. You can't run him off of that side. He said, I love watching Coach Covington work with this group, training camp 2025, go Pack Go. As you see here, Gary right there, you see LVN working with the teammate as well. I'm really, really excited to see what Coach Covington does, and he seems very hands-on. I mean, you see him going right down the line, working with everybody. We showed a clip on yesterday's show, Emilio, while you were out. That was Coach Covington working one-on-one with Rashawn Gary. No one else around, just him working with Gary. I think this is going to pay big dividends here with this defensive line. And here's what's awesome. You now got a guy with defensive coordinator experience, right? He was a DC for 1 year in New England. You've also got Derek Ansley, former defensive coordinator out in L.A., right? Jeff Hafley obviously is your defensive coordinator now. You've got all this DC experience on the entire staff. I mean, now we got Nathaniel Hackett back, and he's actually working with the defense, although he's doing it from an offensive-minded, coach's perspective. But I don't know, man. This is probably going to be one of those hires we look up in 3 to 5 years and go, thank God we got DeMarcus Cousins.
Right. Absolutely. And look at the drill. I mean, he's not stuck in one spot. He literally started with Rashawn. Let's move down to the next one with LVN. Let's move down. And he's engaged. Absolutely, trying to make a difference in these players. And that's what we want to see. We want this D-line to take off. We need to get pressure with 4 this year. We need to be able to rely on that instead of always having to go that sim pressure look. I think that we can do it this year. I think he's going to kind of bring that mentality, that drive. And, let's see what that front can do. I think we've got a lot of skill there. It just really needs to show up for us.
Yeah. And then Tim got another shot here of the defensive line group working together. I try to get muted here before we hear language. And you can see this is all about getting the hands up, right? The hands up drill. So you'll see him engage and then focus on batting those passes down. I'm telling you, man, it's little things like this that makes a real difference on the defensive side of the ball. Everybody just wants these defensive linemen to pin their ears back and just go after the quarterback. But we've seen last year, man, really stay in gap sound. That's how you go to the second best run defense in the league in terms of yards per carry allowed. And then little things like this, taking away the throwing lanes. I know you've been playing college football this year, Emilio. I'm telling you, man, you got to start scouting those quarterbacks that are 6'3" and taller because they got that new feature in there that the throwing lanes matter.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've been getting stuffed. Stop
recruiting those 5'8" quarterbacks.
5'11" pure runners, Clay. That's all I have on the board. 4 stars.
I got statues back there, bro. My guys, they're slower than molasses before they can get through the throwing lanes.
No, I'm telling you that's a problem. You don't think about it. You just want to hit a little mesh concept. You just want to hit a little crosser over the middle, and it could be on your alignment being a little late. You don't get that punch to the stomach, but just a little bit of vertical, block that line, whatever. If you can't get there, get your hands up. That's always a rule. I love that we're working on it. I honestly haven't even really seen that, kind of drill before. I love that Tim got that on film because that's just, maybe one little thing that he could have added, a different drill, a different thought, a different process that can just benefit this team.
Yeah, and this is something that it's kind of Bill Belichickian.
Yeah,
I remember – I studied Belichick for a long time. Like after they won the 3rd or 4th Super Bowl, I'm like, okay, any kind of content that's about the Patriots, me as a Packers fan, I'm going to go and listen to it, watch it, because I want to pick up on what are they doing to be so dominant in the National Football League. one of the things that he is really, really known for, Bill Belichick, is the find the ball drill, right, for DBs. They would work on it at the end of every practice, would throw the ball up in coverage and allow the DBs had to have their back to the ball when the ball goes in the air, and then they had to turn and find the ball while it was in the air. And the reason they would do that is because they played a lot of man coverage. I'm just saying that's one thing. I'm sure every team practices that, but it was notorious on Bill Belichick's defenses that they would focus on that back to the ball, find the ball drill. And when I seen Coach Covington doing this hands up drill on the sleds, it made me think, attention to detail, man. Attention to detail, and that's what comes from Bill Belichick style defenses and coaches here. But Jacob, I know we got you back, man. You're looking clean now, looking smooth here, brother. You missed the best joke I dropped on you earlier. Man.
I heard it.
Just the last 5 or the average of your last dates there. But anyway, what do you think about this? It's pretty cool that Coach Covington got these guys out here working on hands up drills. Tim finding the gems at practice, man.
Yeah. I think it's actually already showing that he's getting results, because if I'm not mistaken, the last couple of practices we saw defensive linemen tipping up balls and linebackers tipping balls and leading to interceptions. And I love it, man. I feel like Covington is a complete step in the opposite direction of the last coach that we had. And I think that was a little bit of a liability for sure. I know that for sure the beginning half of the season, I was just really disappointed with the defensive line play, especially because we seem like, you guys know how much I love Brenton Cox Jr., how much I love Gary, how much I love LVN. But I really feel like we just did not get anywhere near their potential out of them last year. And it was a shame. And then all of a sudden towards the back end of the season, I don't know what they did, if they just said, all right, guys, go out and just, be yourselves kind of thing. They obviously performed way better. Ryan had a podcast where it showed about how great they were. They were actually very, very impressive. Some of them in the 18-17% pressure rate type stuff. Yep. So I have a very, very much, I'm very hopeful for this group, especially with the subtle additions that we made. We talked about yesterday with Brinson and Stackhouse. I mean, God, that's a big man that can move very quickly. I'm just very excited.
How about this name right here, as Wes Hodkowitz tweeted out? Good rush from Sorrell on the weak side, and defensive front nearly forced a Malik Willis interception. Anderson couldn't bring it in. So pressure pick, coverage sack, Baron Sorrell now starting to get his name heard here on the practice field. That's a guy that it's like I'm such a stick in the mud, as Mandy refers to me as, but it's such a feel-good story from the draft that I'm trying not to buy into the hype. I keep reminding myself, Clayton, he's a 4th-round pick. He's a 4th-round pick. He's a 4th-round pick. But then I got to remind myself, Evan Williams was a 4th-round pick. Zach Tom was a 4th-round pick. Why am I, you know what I mean? Why am I curbing the enthusiasm? Emilio, this dude could end up being a stud, man. And
absolutely,
these are the things you want to look for in the joint practices and the preseason game. You know how exciting it's going to be to see 99 out there rushing off the edge in a preseason game, dude?
Dude, and that those are the reps that we're going to get. That's when we're going to really be able to see him. How much are you actually going to see him, in season? We don't know that yet. You're going to kind of lean on playing time to the veterans at first. So let's see what he can do in the preseason game. That's when we're really going to get, a good breakdown of these guys. We'll probably end up, doing a little cut up or something of all their plays. I'm sure we'll get into something like that of the preseason, but I think that it's going to be good to kind of go back and look. All right, what did we get out of these draft picks? What are we going to get? What are they going to bring to this team? Starting from, round 1 to round 7. So let's, I am really excited about what he can add to that D-line. I think that we need to, like I said, take off with that front 4 this year.
Yeah, Coach Lynn says that's the second day in a row that Sorrell has flashed. Ron Samuel says Sorrell's going to shine when the pads come on. Tony Holman in the chat says I'm pulling for Sorrell. I love what Ron said there. Sorrell's going to shine when the pads come on. Jacob, it does kind of feel like Sorrell's built for the pads. Some of these guys, like I'm eager to see Matthew Golden in pads and I think they're going full pad on Sunday. So we'll try to do a live stream during that practice. Maybe the back half of the practice so we can give you the guys the remaining updates as they come in type thing. That would be a lot of fun. But Jacob, what do you think about Sorrell, man? Again, he's already starting to make some waves here in training camp.
Yep, just like with UDFAs, just like with 7th rounders, just like with anything rookies that people don't expect to come in and make a big splash. I, for some reason, just have high hopes that he is going to come here. Like Tony said, he's pulling for Sorrell. Sorrell's got junk in the trunk. Chris, the casual end. What are you talking about there?
Nice.
I really do think too, like Jen Wright saying, he'll be the best 99 ever. I love the fact
that
he's rocking that number there. He just doesn't seem like much like we talked about with Golden, how the situation right now doesn't seem too much for him. I think Sorrell is kind of in that same vein where he's getting a lot of tutelage. He's getting a lot of people that are kind of guiding him in the right way, how to be a pro, how to do things your first season. And if he can come in and contribute even just a little bit, I don't really think he's going to get the type of snaps that maybe, that he'd want to get maybe his first year, because he's got such a great rotation in front of him with guys like obviously Gary LVN, Cox. But if he can even get maybe 15% of the snaps and make those 15% count, that's going to really, really step him into next year. And who knows if he makes the most out of those snaps and he really is flashing. I'm excited to watch him in the preseason completely. Like, I really do think that if he does make a name for himself, that's just, think about if we've got a guy like that wrapped up for the next 2, 3, 4 years. And if he is, the emotions that he showed, like you said, it's hard for him not to be a fan favorite. The way that just the whole, it almost felt scripted. And I'm not saying it was.
It really did.
So it was so perfect that it almost like, I'm such a conspiracy nut that I'm like, what are you doing? But I felt completely in love with Sorrell that day. So it reminded me very much. You guys remember when Rashawn Gary got drafted and he was just showing so much emotion? Literally
like a baby,
bawling his eyes out. I got a lot of that vibe from him as well, and it just was. It's so cool to see a player really show that emotion and really truly show that they want to be there. You guys, we've made fun of the Bears, the Bengals. How many times do you get drafted and you see the guy just look at the camera like, oh my God, like they clearly don't want to go to that city.
Yep. It's
just awesome to see that he embraced it so much, and that's going to make the Packer faithful absolutely fall in love with this guy. So even if he takes a year or two, I don't think he's got to worry, because the old G is going to have his back.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
This next one will get you excited, Jacob. Wes Heikowitz tweeted out, Bullard, who's been the nickel with the ones. I repeat, Bullard has been playing the star, slot, nickel position with the ones, which means Nate Hobbs is playing outside, right? So you got Nate Hobbs outside, Bullard in the slot, Keyshawn on the opposite side. It's early. It's really, really early. But it kind of feels like that's the three they're going to push. And you guys know how I feel about Carrington Valentine, right? I would rather play Carrington Valentine over Keyshawn Nixon, me personally. Now, I would not rather play Carrington Valentine over Javon Bullard, if that makes sense. They play two different positions. I got you. But when you go to the nickel, what I'm saying is I would much rather have Bullard as a second-round pick, and I felt like he played pretty darn well in the slot, not the safety position, but the slot position. What if he just, again, we talked about it last night, what if he just runs away with the slot spot and forces Nate Hobbs outside, and now it's going to become Carrington Valentine and Keyshawn Nixon battling for that opposite cornerback spot. It's easy to say, well, Keyshawn's a starter, guys. Keyshawn's only making like $6 million, and that's more than a seventh-round pick that is Carrington Valentine. I want to see Carrington on the field. I'm slowly starting to kind of drift towards maybe Keyshawn's the odd man out in terms of the starters, but we know injuries are going to happen. People are going to get banged up. But what do you think, Amelia? You're over at grinning. What are you grinning about? Do you like it, or what do you think?
Love to hear that my man's getting a little respect. I know that Jacob's still pulling for him. I love that. I know that you've been, just not mad at him, Clay, just vocal on where he's struggling. I appreciate it.
Nobody's listening anyway.
Exactly, because we're just hoping that he pulls through and gets a starting spot. But I do like that. I think that, you can kind of move them around, but we really did kind of leave that out as an option after, we've gone through the offseason. Is we always kind of put Keyshawn in there as a starter. He was always, number one or whatever. We don't know what could happen if he does, maybe he's in the battle with Carrington instead of Hobbs. But even listening to Hobbs, his interview there, he's totally fine with just being versatile for the team. Whatever he can do to help the team, perfect. If he's better outside for us, fine. If he needs to walk inside, cool. If we go some dime looks and we have 4 out there, then I'm excited with that 4. If Carrington gets out there with Key, Bull, and Hobbs, I like that. But we really kind of just need to see what's going to happen. Exciting to see that he's starting out early, though.
Yeah, so not only is he running with the ones, Jacob, but punch the ball out from Kraft on an underneath completion.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about that is that he's making my man Kraft look bad. So that's like Sophie's choice right there. Quit making him look bad. I will say real quick too, like Amelia said, I would love it if Bullard, became that slot and took that role over and was absolutely just a staple there. And then we had to force, like you said, Hobbs and Valentine and Nixon to have that battle. I know Ryan, hearing that Bullard would be the starter, he's probably getting to the bathtub with the toaster. But I'm just thinking that, man, I honestly really like what I've seen out of Hobbs so far. And you could call it coach speak, but I really do think, like, they've talked about how he's a physical guy. He's a violent guy. He's an aggressive player. I don't know how long I've waited for another cornerback to be. I want that, man. Remember, like, the days of Al Harris, Tramon Williams, Charles Woodson. Those were aggressive, violent corners that didn't just play patty cake with you. They went and they went physical. They went hands on.
Jacob, my childhood was that. I remember just having two dreads on the outside. I was like, dude, we are set. We are good to go, man.
I remember Mike McKenzie on one side for a short bit and Al Harris on the other until Mike McKenzie got too big for his britches.
Yep. Yeah.
But I tell you, when you said physical, Jacob, there's a player that came to mind for me, and there's going to be a lot of people in the chat, especially the younger fans, that don't know much about him other than he was an analyst for a while. I challenge you, when we get done tonight, go to YouTube and type in Rod Woodson highlights.
Oh,
you want to see a physical corner? Oh, my God, dude. Pittsburgh, the early years.
He couldn't do half that stuff he does now, though.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. But Rod Woodson was the man for sure, man. And yeah, it was just just an awesome dude, too. Awesome human being. But Matt Schneidman then tweeted out, Carrington Valentine's having an active first couple days. Already has 2 interceptions and just had a sideline pass breakup while smothering Matthew Golden. Throw was a little high from Malik Willis. Valentine let the rookie hear about it after. This is my guy. And people are going, Clayton, I remember 2 years ago when you were bashing this kid because he played like Dookie. I'm going to call it how it is. Last year, I mean, the dude played – he had the best passer rating when targeted on the entire team. That's why I'm like, all right, maybe Valentine puts Nixon on the bench.
Right.
Hobbs, Valentine, Bullard. You guys have the floor. What do you think about that? Go first, Amelia. What do you think about that?
I think it's a possibility. We didn't, like I said, we didn't really check on that. I'm excited, dude. Carrington was getting hot at the end of the season. Honestly, kind of whole season he was playing well. And he seems like a worker, kind of put your head down and grind mentality, just sort of like Matthew Golden. And I love that it's, sort of the young guns going against each other. Let's battle them. But Carrington's been here. He's young age-wise, but he's been tested. He's gotten a lot of reps in the NFL. That's game time that you can't pay for that, right? That's experience that he has. So that's absolutely huge. And I think that, he's going to kind of know how to carry himself, know how to attack this year. And like everybody else, they're just fighting for a spot. Right now we can speculate all we want on positions where everyone's going to go. At the end of this preseason, if Carrington has 15 interception and he's like, had a 0 passer rating the whole time, dude's going to find a spot on the field. You know what I mean? They're not going to stop him from getting out on the field if he is that elite. Yeah,
for sure. Jacob, what do you think about this for Carrington, man? Dude just always shows up, man.
Yeah, he does. And he's got a, he has that Jair-esque about him. He's very loud. He's very cocky. I like that to a certain point if you back it up. But you can't argue that sort of stuff. It's good. He's the type of player that can get in your head. He can put a little brain worm in there and start just messing with you over and over and over and get that jaw going. I like that quite a bit about him. And I like that he's not afraid to be physical. He's not afraid to, I can't remember what game it was where he made the interception in the end zone. And in my head, I'm like, oh, just go down. And then he breaks it and starts, I'm like, oh no, go down. And then, with the Baltimore coach was like, go down, and go, Ed, go. That's kind of Carrington. He was like one broken tackle away from getting past the 20 and really breaking it out. But I think he's a fun player to watch. He's an ascending player. Like Emilio said, he's went through experience now. You can't pay for that. You can't teach that. That's something that he's had to go through. He knows what it is to play through adversity, being a 7th round pick. He just really is that type of player that I think can stand in here. And I would love to, honestly, right now, if I had my druthers, I'd go Carrington on the outside, Hobbs on the other sade, have my guy Bullard in the slot, Evan Williams and X. I mean, look at that group right there. And then, if you have to bring somebody else in, go to a higher DB set, then bring in Nixon, because that's a great, backup there to have. And hey, maybe my guy Melton somewhere behind there. But that's my that would be my dream team right now. And obviously, like you said, injuries can change that. People that show peaks and training camp can change that. But I'm excited right now.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that too, because we just talked about Carrington Valentine. Well, we started with Javon Bullard running with the ones in the slot, right? All that, and then of course Carrington Valentine showing up already. Well, now we got Wes Hikowitz tweeting out. Keyshawn Nixon had a strong start to camp. Dobbs gets a step down the sidelines, but 25 closes to break it up. So Keyshawn, listen, he's in the driver's seat in one of those starting outside corner spots. There's no two ways about that. I don't want to misconstrue here, but I think he's in the lead for one of those spots. But there's times that how many times have we see Eric Stokes on the field? You know what I mean? Like they do a little bit of rotating there as well and kind of play the hot hand in that regard. So
and it's kind of crazy to think like we were talking about what would job be here. I mean, we're now discussing who's going to get the reps out of these three, right? So where would we be if Ja was still here and then trying to figure out those numbers? Obviously, wishing the best, but I kind of like where we're at situated at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And then of course our boy Tim had tweeted this out. Said defense wins another prize. He's fired up, man. And he's always on the defensive side of the field. I love it. It's like everybody else is hovering around the offense, not Tim. He wants to be where the defense is. So obviously the defense wins again. Now, to me, I don't know what to make of this. You know what I mean? Like, does this mean the defense is way better than the offense? Not necessarily. We don't know what the script is. We don't know what they're working on. We don't know the approach, right? But it is awesome that the defense is showing up strong so far. Really excited to see some of this depth in preseason action.
I think defense is always kind of strong right at the beginning of those kind of things, Clay, or early season. Defense always kind of has that number. You're hoping that the offense can overcome, but that gets you excited that, hey, the defense can get us through the first few weeks if they keep playing, coming out this strong.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting to is like the way I remember it, and I could be misremembering it, is the defense seems like they always start a step ahead of the offense every training camp. I remember Aaron Rodgers throwing interceptions all through training camp.
Right.
And people were like, oh, is this the year that, Aaron drops off, this and that? No, that's training camp. You're testing stuff. That's when you make those mistakes. You see if you can make that throw. You see if you can hammer that base shot in a cover two. You see if you could throw that 23-yard out route you were talking about earlier, right? Like just you kind of push the limits a little bit. Sometimes that can make the defense look better than it is. I'll tell you the one thing that drives me crazy, though, not to take too much of a shot here at the media, but 2 years ago and then last year again, there were media members all camp going, this defense is dominant. This defense is dominant. Wow, they're dominating this and that. And then the second the season starts, the defense didn't dominate. They're like, we were told this defense was dominant. I'm going, we? You were the ones saying it. The team didn't come out and say we're dominant. The players weren't coming out and saying we're going to be a top 5 defense. You were reporting it. And then when it didn't happen because we got too overzealous, I guess you could say, in training camp, now all of a sudden you're they lied to us. They said the defense is going to be – you were the one saying it. Am I the only one that picks up on that every year? It drives me absolutely insane. I'm like, you guys were the ones reporting it, and now you're like phantomly. It's kind of like the Adam Schefter tweet. Remember the tweet that he put out on Peyton Reed's agent? It was like, I spoke to or someone close to the whatever. I can't remember how he worded it, but it was they Drew Rosenhaus or the agents met with Brian Gutekunst to discuss what Jaden Reed's role will be after drafting 2 wide receivers. And everybody went, oh, then Jaden Reed's upset. And then Adam Schefter comes out and goes, people really blew this out of proportion. Like, you tweeted it. What are you talking about? So anyway, so kind of a bittersweet day today. Matt Schneidman done a great job kind of capturing this as Mark Murphy's retirement day was a busy one, signing autographs out there. Man, I'm telling you, I'll be honest with you guys. When I became a Packer fan, it was Bob Harlan running the show. Right. I became a Packer fan back around 03, 02, somewhere in that range. And Bob Harlan was just a class act. And then, of course, Bob Harlan hands this off to Mark Murphy a few years later. And Mark Murphy's kind of all I've ever known as a Packer fan from a CEO, president standpoint. And I think this is the stuff that he did so well. Like he would put himself out there to the point that people would make memes about him and make fun of him and this and that because he comes across a little awkward. If you think he's awkward, if you think he is, different, you're probably walking around every day alive trying to be someone you're not. I love the fact that Mark Murphy is unapologetically himself. That silly laugh he's got, all the thing. I mean, we talk about it all the time. We got the drop here. Where's it at?
65%. 65%. That's what
man is living the high life, making a ton of money, representing the most storied franchise in the history of the most popular league on the face of the planet, right? To the best of my knowledge, he stays in the Titletown area. I think he's got one of those real nice condos over there, and I'm sure he's got multiple homes with his salary and how successful he's been throughout his whole year. His whole life, it's not just about the Packers. This dude has been successful at everything he's touched. When he was in the league, all the way down the line. Many people, it's amazing how many fans don't even know he was in the league. He led the league in interceptions one year. The dude was a football player. He went on, I think he got a law degree. He was the athletic director at Northwestern. And then he takes over in the shadow of Bob Harlan. Just done a hell of a job. I heard somebody on the radio earlier today. I'm not going to name drop him, but I was just shaking my head. He was like, he stepped into a situation where everything was built when they won the Super Bowl. And I was like, did he really come in 2010? I thought it was a few years before that. It was a few years before that when he came in. And it's just like, well, that doesn't count. Why doesn't it count? You know what I mean? Like, I just think everything he's touched over at Titletown has turned to gold. Emilio, you finally got to see the fruits of that labor this year for the first time. I know, Jacob, you've seen a good chunk of it a couple of years ago when we were up there. But I want to get your all's take on what Mark Murphy has done here. We got a couple other clips we'll play on him too because, I think it's absolutely awesome. As Bungie Chatterbug says, dude lived his dream, played in the league, and run one of the most successful franchises in history. That's a hell of a life. It really is. But, Emilio, what did you think of Titletown, and what do you think of our boy Mark Murphy here and what he's done, man?
Incredible, what he's brought to feedback. Incredible what he's brought to the team, to the town, everything, that personality, that, the being able to just be personal with the fans is, maybe not something that's on the job, resume or whatever, but he does it perfectly. Like you said, he can go out there and just be himself, live it up as life. We're only on here for a short time. He enjoyed it. He lived it up. And for the Green Bay Packers, got to play in the league. Absolutely love him. Cannot appreciate him more. And pretty much, the only owner that I knew really, for my sake. But what a guy. So happy that I got to see Titletown, what he brought to that team, what he brought to the city. And I'm just hoping, policy keeps that going still. I want to kind of see that personality, being personal with the fans. But just what a guy.
Yeah, Jacob, here was the ovation he got at the shareholders meeting, his final shareholders meeting. I think he's still going to be around, but obviously the only reason he's stepping down is because he reached that age limit, right? But listen to this ovation he got. This is Matt Schneidman that put it out. Good little crowd out there today, too, man. Love it. But what do you think, Jacob, about the job Mark Murphy's done, man? And like I said, what did you think when you seen Titletown there a couple of years ago when we met up for the ball game?
I mean, it was different than what I remember, man. I've been to Lambeau. I mean, gosh, I don't even know how many times, 10 to 15 times at least in the last 10 to 15 years. And each time we'd go there, it just felt like a game of like Age of Empires or like Civ, where you'd come back and you're like, oh, the Empire's expanded. Like, you know what I mean? And you walk, like, I remember walking down the street, Clayton, on the way to the game and just seeing, like all the businesses, the hotels, the scenery, even just random Bears fan. Remember there was a random Bears fan like walking up and down like, you want a beer? I'm like, okay. It's literally a spectacle. Yeah, I mean, and that was when we were playing the Rams, guys. It wasn't like we were playing the Bears. So it's just one of those things where it's became kind of a bucket list. Lambeau's always been a bucket list thing for, I believe, anybody that believes in true franchises, seeing the mecca of stadiums, the mecca of football, in my opinion. But now it's to the point where like it's really an eventful type thing, and he did it in a way without taking away from the integrity of what it is to be the Green Bay Packers, to be a small town franchise. He did it while keeping the small town community feel, but still brought in a lot of the modern commodities, amenities, luxuries that people require. The fact that we went from, if you guys could see what Green Bay what Lambeau looked like in like 1995, 1996, compared to what it looks like now, it's unbelievable. It really truly is. So hats off to that man. I'll never, like Clayton said the other day, there will be no Mark Murphy slandered on this podcast. And I completely agree with that.
Seems like the people who have a problem with him, it's like every time I hear a story, and there's very few of them, and I won't mention names, but when I hear the story, it's like, didn't you kind of bring that on to yourself? You made a disrespectful comment, right? And I know I'm being very vague, and I'm being vague for a reason. I don't want to call people out, you know what I mean? But it's just like, I've never had a problem with him. I've met him a couple times at games, right? Why are you having a problem with him? Oh, because you made a comment to him that was disrespectful about his predecessor or whatever it may be. Like, I don't know, man. I just don't understand anyone who doesn't appreciate what he's done. But this was a video Tim put out. I'm going to play it real quick so you can hear the ovation a little bit better. Tim on the front row. Surprise, surprise, right? Tim always prepared.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mark. There you go, Mark. We love you, Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Look at Ed Policy right there, boys. He's either about to steal your aunt from your uncle, or he's going to make somebody go sleeping with the fishies. You know what I'm saying?
He looks like Tony Stark.
Yeah, I love it, dude. Absolutely.
Actually, that's a good one, Jacob. He actually does. That's good.
Tell ya.
I thought Tim was going to hit Mark with
65%. 65%. That's what we.
Hey, Goody.
Very good.
Nice.
Yeah. Pretty
Tim.
cool. Tim knows how to do it, man. Tim has had a very eventful look who he's sitting next to. He was sitting next to, super fan there. Our boy. Yeah. So I think he actually put a tweet out with him. That's Bobby, right? Jacob,
Yeah, that's Bobby.
Yeah, had him on the
It's
show.
a nice cross helmet, Jacob. That's a nice one. I might need to get me one of those.
So obviously with the shareholders meeting, I'm excited to dive into some of the financials and stuff like that they talked about. I love looking at it. I won't bore you guys with it on the show, but I just love kind of looking at. It's the only team. It's one of only 32 teams on the face of the planet in the National Football League, and we actually get to see behind the scenes what was profited, the media, the marketing deals, all that stuff. So really, really cool. But so Tim got to meet. He's seen Mark Murphy, obviously shouting out Goody right there.
Mm-hmm.
Our boys met up and talked with Jeff Halfley. Got to hang out with Matthew Golden.
You got your boy's towel, right, Jacob?
Hey, I don't want to talk about it.
I think Tim might be looking to hold on to that and sell it to Jacob at a later date.
That's actually a good move on Tim's
It's like that NVIDIA stock, man. I know it looks good right now. Hold on to it. It's going to get better. You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. So.
I feel like I need to start working on the draft board because Jacob's got the whole fantasy going down. Tim is just absolutely crushing it, boots on the ground. I'm over here just twiddling my thumbs. I feel like I need to start 2026 or something.
Yeah, but how many years deep are you in your dynasty on college football?
Oh, yeah, you don't want to.
That's what I thought. All right. So Matt Schneidman put this one out. Ed Policy takes the stage for the first time as Packers president. Let's check it out.
It's kind of an emotional moment as I my microphone down for the last time. I'm used to addressing moving the microphone down, following Mark for 13 years. In fact, just a few days ago, one of the media members, local media members,
kind of hard to hear, I know, but I think, did he just say 13? Is that what it is, guys? He's been here for 13 years working under Mark Murphy. Has it really been that long that he's been with the Packers, Ed Policy? Because I know he's been here a long time, and he's kind of helped lead the charge with Title 10. I'm going to look this up real quick. Ed Policy, year arrived in Packers.
That's pretty impressive if he's been there for 13 years, Clayton. I mean, that's over a decade as a backup, ready to take over. I would think so.
Yeah, 2012. Had previously joined the Packers organization in 2012. So, 13 years. Crazy. So, and, year 13. Yeah, thank you, Tony. Appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. I'm excited to see the Ed Policy era take off here. And let's go get him a ring now. You know what I mean? Let's make this happen. Mark Murphy's got one. Let's go get that policy. So, y'all got one more segment left in you? We good?
Yeesh.
All right. So let's talk a little Isaiah Simmons, man. I was looking earlier today, and he's had kind of he's had a good camp. It's been kind of quiet, but it's good. Everything you read on him, you don't read anything where it's like, I don't know if it's going to fit, blah, blah, blah. But I put together this. I asked AI, I'm like, hey, give me a rundown of Isaiah Simmons. Like, what's going on with Isaiah Simmons in training camp, right? And I'll just kind of hit you guys with the bullet points here. Strong start in training camp. Isaiah Simmons, free agent addition to the Green Bay Packers, has been noticeable during the first 2 days of training camp at Nitschke Field, showcasing his athleticism as a linebacker. He's making the transition to linebacker solely, right? Previously playing safety and hybrid roles for the Cardinals and the Giants, Simmons is now focused on playing linebacker, specifically the strong side position in Jeff Hafley's base defense. So when you're in a 4-3, put him at the Sam, that means he's lined up over the tight end. We know what happens in the NFL. These Ys, even when they're attached, and think about the NFC North. Who's the Lions tight end? Sam Laporta, right? In Minnesota, is it Hawkinson? Am I thinking right, guys? Hawkinson's the tight end out there, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
With the Bears, it's Cole Kmet. I mean, those are three solid tight ends. So the thought of playing him at Sam, I really, really like, because he's going to be lining up over the tight end. And when you're in those man coverage spots or you're playing some kind of match look, he's going to be covering that Y out of the Sam. I really like that approach. I love that gold chain too, by the way. Look like Jacob at the club, my man. There. So, and the ink, I will say this, his ink is sick, dude. All the way down the left side, sleeved out on the leg. Kind of looks like the dude from House of Corpses right there, but I can't tell.
That's dangerous.
What is?
That tattoo, man. It's scary.
Sorry, Jacob. Jeez, okay. All right, moving along. Impressive plays. On the first day, Simmons disrupted a pitch and a screen pass to running back Josh Jacobs. On the second day, he tipped a pass from Malik Willis, leading to an interception by Carrington Valentine. So he got his hand on the ball. Carrington picked off. His athletic background, he was drafted 8th overall in 2020 by the Cardinals. Simmons is 6'4", 238 pounds athlete with a 4.39 40 and a 39-inch vertical, but his versatility is sometimes hindered specialization. So a 9.97 RAS is what he had. That's just – I'm telling you, man, if he hits here in Green Bay, this linebacking room is going to – imagine if that's your starting three. Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker in the nickel 4-2-5, right? Kind of mixing and matching, Mike and Will there, however you see fit based off the weekly matchup with your upcoming opponent. And then when you go to the 4-3 base, putting Simmons – and now, again, he doesn't have to worry about playing a hybrid role. You're just playing Sam backer now, Emilio. That's exciting to me, man.
Yeah. I think it was either Mike or Wes on their pod. They were talking about how it's been 3 years since he's actually played or been going into the linebacker room or whatever you would consider it, the linebacker room for defensive meetings and things like that. The past 3 years he's been playing as a safety and with the Giants. So he's excited to be back actually in the linebacker room. Matt was kind of talking about how he'd be that star sort of nickel role. But that's a fast nickel. That's a big nickel. I think you could also, because you want to in nickel, you're going to want to keep Quay and Cooper on, right? So at some point you would maybe want to rotate in the nickel, or maybe you rotate out a linebacker to get a breather. But whoever's got that green dot's probably not coming off the field. So you would think that if you're doing that, you're rotating out Coop would be the only thing. But I also hear them talking about how fast he's going to be with his pads even on. So that for him showing up now, I'm excited to see what happens once they get the pads on.
And Jacob, I don't know why, man, but I thought he was thinner than this. This was his RAS here. I don't know what year this RAS was gathered, but he's basically the same size as Cooper, right? 240 pounds is what he's sitting. I mean, he's sitting at 238 according to the RAS. I don't know if this is just the draft RAS.
2020.
Or an updated one. Yeah, so this dude – he's built like Quay and Edgerrin Cooper. He really is.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't understand, I guess, what Arizona and New York was doing, trying to put him in that weird kind of safety role. To me, this is kind of just an athletic freak, and for them to kind of limit his position, if what Emilio said was true, is that he hasn't even seen the linebacker room in most of his NFL career. That, to me, says that's untapped potential. I think that Hafley is going to absolutely crack into this guy, and who knows what could explode out of that. Could be an absolute monster. If you said that we had a 3-headed beast between Quay, Cooper, and this dude, I'm so excited.
Yeah. And then it goes on to say simplified role. The Packers are focusing Simmons on off-ball linebacker duties, allowing him to master one position rather than juggling multiple roles, which he finds beneficial. He mentioned that one of the first things he talked about. Teammate praise. Running back Josh Jacobs called Simmons a unicorn for his speed and anticipates his physicality in pads. He's already thinking about Sunday, boys. Josh Jacobs going, damn. We put these pads on, Isaiah Simmons is going to be after me, right? Safety Xavier McKinney, obviously All-Pro last year, right? A former teammate praised Simmons' size, length, and ability to cover and tackle. I didn't even realize that. They were teammates in New York, right? So these guys already have a little bit of rapport. And if he was playing a hybrid role, Emilio, that means he probably played alongside Xavier McKinney at the safety position at some point. So Goody's just putting it all together, man.
Mm-hmm. Knows the calls, knows how X is kind of thinking. And it's just, you see that, who else was it? That new Hobbs before, was it Evan Williams maybe? New Hobbs from high school or something. He went to school with his brother, so Hobbs had come over to the house. It's like how small the world is, or how tight knit this Packers team is going to be. It's layered. It's unbelievable how much one-on-one time these players have had outside of just being a Green Bay Packer now.
Yeah, for sure. So it goes on to say team fit. Simmons is competing in a linebacker room with Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, and Christian Welch, with no guaranteed roster spot but high potential impact. One thing that sticks out to me there, no one, and I mean no one, is mentioning Colin Oliver as a stack backer. Yeah. Every article we've seen, everybody says defensive end. So I think we can kind of start to press into that a little bit, although he hasn't been on the field. But it just feels like, I feel like somebody behind the scenes would have let the cat out of the bag if they're going to play a hybrid role. So probably going to see Colin Oliver as strictly a defensive end. And I was excited to see him play a little weak side backer in certain sets, especially that 4-3 look. But personal motivation, Simmons aims to be himself and contribute to the team without trying to prove a point, leveraging his experience and athleticism to earn his role. I think he's going to fit right in here with the Packers. So
yeah, and I think that, to that Oliver point, Clay, let's just give him one spot and kind of learn it. Maybe we can dive into that a little bit later, but that also kind of keeps the opening for Simmons. I like that he still has a shot to, really get some playing time there, not have it, kind of snipped by a younger guy there.
Yeah. And if we look at that's all on the article there. I just want to take a quick little look at and you guys can find that in the Patreon group. Just scan the QR code in the upper right. That's one of the benefits of being in the Patreon group as opposed to just joining as a member here on YouTube, although you're welcome to do whatever you would like to do to support the channel. Look at the defensive side of the ball here. We look at the linebacker room. We're showing Quay Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, obviously, as the starters. Now, they got Edgerrin listed as the Mike. We've been very vocal here that's very interchangeable. Depends on your opponent you're playing that week, what the call is. Do you want Cooper to rush on this play? Do you want Walker to rush on this play? Sometimes that can be predetermined who's going to play the Mike and the Will just on a per-snap basis. You got Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper behind them. Then Isaiah Simmons, Christian Welch, then Jamin Johnson. Me personally, I feel like Isaiah Simmons is right there in that group with McDuffie and Hopper. Now, with that being said, if you had to cut one of those three, I'm going to start with you, Jacob. I'm going to make you cut one of these three players, okay? Cannot carry all three of them. Which one will be the odd man out? Isaiah McDuffie, who just signed the 2-year extension, right? Although it wasn't a lot of money, but he signed a little mini extension. Tyron Hopper, former third-round pick that we really haven't seen hardly anything of, or Isaiah Simmons. Who would be the odd man out there, man, for you?
It'd have to be between the two Isaiahs. We've seen what we have in McDuffie, and I think that he's a fine substitute. I don't think he's necessarily a flashy starter or anything like that. I don't think he's ever going to be a Pro Bowler, All-Pro, whatever the thing is. But he's a stopgap, and I think he's a serviceable player. I think at this point I'd probably. Man, I think I'd have to go with. I'd have to probably let McDuffie go. Just with the idea, if Simmons did have more upside, and I think he probably does, just with the athleticism that he showed, the draft stock that he has, I think we've seen what the ceiling is for McDuffie. I don't think we've experienced what the ceiling for Simmons could be.
Gotcha. What about you, Emilio? If you had to pick one of the three to cut, who would it be, man?
Between McDuffie, Simmons, and Hopper, right?
Correct.
Brutal. Because Jordan Love was talking about how McDuffie's, been his locker buddy since they got there together.
Right.
That's man, I would. That's tough. I honestly,
I'm telling you, it sucks.
I think I would say Simmons just because I know that we've seen we've had Hopper and McDuffie in here. We know what's going on. We just kind of brought Simmons in just to give it a shot. Yeah, he's got speed and everything else, but if it hasn't worked out in other places, maybe there's a reason.
Playing safety there.
I know. Emilio? That's what I was just going to keep going. Yeah, but they had him as safety. But right now, if you water gun there, I would probably have to say Simmons just because I don't know any others.
Yeah. Well, I asked you guys that question specifically because we carried 5 last year. All right. So we'll probably keep all 5. I just wanted to know, I wanted to ask it at that angle to kind of get where you guys are in terms of where do you place more value on Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, or Isaiah Simmons, the odd man being asked. 2-0 for this. McDuffie. McDuffie is 26, but his hairline is 33. I would say his hairline is 53.
I was good. Yes.
Yep. Hey, but listen, he is a millionaire. We are not.
Right.
He's living his dream. We're talking about him living his dream. So
exactly.
I think I would rather have a bad hairline living my dream than
eating a turkey leg. Take a peek on that when we peel out of here at the end of the night.
I will say this about McDuffie too. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. It kind of feels like his teammates love him.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's to the Jordan Love point. Is he wanted his locker buddy. It's Jordan, then Isaiah McDuffie, then Malik. But he wanted his locker buddy. You get a little bit. You can talk to a defensive guy. You're not going to see him all day in practice. There's that camaraderie there, and he was right by him, right by their side. He helped carry the tray out. I love that.
Yeah. And this, by the way, he doesn't have to worry about this hairline yet. You know what I'm saying? That's right around the corner, though. That's a rough look right there. That is don't answer the door, sir. That is the Grim Reaper knocking. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
That's a perfect drop right there, Amelia. Look at you, man. I'll tell you a serious hairline, or another similar hairline, I should say, is right here. Right?
Dang.
Solid, too.
She's hot.
Yeah. As you guys could tell, we got 3 minutes to fill here, so we're trying our damnedest to get this one in.
How dare you?
I kind of feel like his hairline's been manufactured. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. We'll just say. Just saying. Which, by the way, he's been throwing some picks, what I'm hearing. I've seen the chat earlier. What's the update we got on Caleb Williams this camp? And I heard Ben Johnson was chewing everybody out at practice. So
much so that he stopped practice multiple times over the last few days and pulled the ones because he was so upset.
I thought they stopped practice because somebody got lightheaded from the smell of nail polish. Is that not true? Was that not what was going on?
That's probably it. Now that I think
Look at this guy, right? Could you imagine this guy leading your franchise?
Yeah.
Look at this dude. Unbelievable.
Brutal.
All right. Parting thoughts, gentlemen. We have 2 minutes, a minute and a half.
Parting thoughts. Didn't get to talk about the jerseys. They are fresh. The helmets are money. I love that they airbrushed them. I think that's going to be absolutely killer. And let's go. Let's add some more alternates. I remember when we stopped in the Hall of Fame there, Clay, in Lambeau. When we stopped, I looked at all the jerseys. I almost kind of, just eyeballing it, like, where are we going to go next? And what's going to kind of be? And I'm glad that they went all the way back and, kind of add that detail. I think it's going to be a good look.
Yeah, and I got to stop being so negative, but
here we go.
The same knucklehead who thinks he's a football expert on the old X machine over there on Twitter, his response was to post a screenshot of a $1,500 price tag on a helmet, on one of those helmets, like to bash the Packers. That was for the airbrush one. They're going to have a cheaper one that's just decaled that you can purchase. I will have one of those in this studio. I will wear one of those live on this show.
Please.
I thought about breaking out the old the old Cousin Eddie one. Remember when I put the leather helmet on last year and y'all said I look like Cousin Eddie from that thing? Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Let me get that.
No way.
I personally, I haven't gotten to talk to you about this, Amelia. We covered it last night. I think they're absolutely awesome, like really honestly awesome. And we watched as they did. I don't know if you saw the clip that they put on the Packers social media where they did the unboxing, and it was the most emotion I've ever seen out of Romeo. You know what I mean? Like, he was sincerely, he was like, "Oh, these are nice."
It was unbelievable. I mean, because you nowadays it's gray it out or white it out, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I love that we added some age and texture. We're about history here, and I think that going back to where we started, go back to the roots is amazing.
I think I may do a live stream tomorrow, and just a quick one early in the day before the night one we do. And I think I'm going to actually do a quick little, just a 10-minute video, a recap of the 1923 season, which is what those jerseys are from. I think that'd be cool to kind of take you back in history there. You know what I'm saying? Look at that right there.
Yeah.
Cousin Eddie out there with the coffee.
Yes.
Hooper's full.
I was going to put it on the screen. Respect Oranges. You serious, Clark?
That thing is money, Clay. I'm putting it on next time I'm up there.
Yeah, I love this thing, man. This is I wear this when I piss Mandy off. It's a little extra, you know what I mean? So that's a birth control hat, a lot like AFAM's mustache. You're not getting anybody pregnant wearing that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna happen. So. What was you gonna say, Jacob? Anything else, man?
Yeah, just real quick. I watched, like I said, a couple interviews before we hopped on here. One of them was with Matthew Golden, and they asked him basically like, "How do you feel? Who can you lean on this team?" And he said that I honestly feel like I can lean on everybody on this team. He says that obviously the wide receiver room, we all have each other's back. He said there's a sense of brotherhood already with this team. He goes, I can even lean on the DBs, which I'm not used to, kind of thing, which was really cool to see. And then with Jordan Reed, why do I keep saying it? Jaden Reed, they asked him like, where are some room for improvement that from last year, and he said everything. He said my catching, my blocking, my yak, the route running, everything, which was just really great to see. He was not mad, he was not angry. It was complete humbleness. It wasn't like coach speak, wasn't interview speak. He said they asked him what are your individual goals, and he goes, I don't have individual goals, I have goals for the team, which was really cool. And they asked Matthew Golden, what are your individual goals? And he says, I got them written down. I'm not going to tell you guys till the end of the season. Like, I love that mentality with both those guys. And then the last thing, which I was really, ever since they had the locker room upgrade, all of a sudden somebody mentioned it in the comments. Can you guys notice that you can hear the questions? Did they do an upgrade in the locker room with the press corps and everything? Because I can hear the questions being asked. I can hear the questions being answered. There's not a lot of like.
See how much cushion they put in that thing, Jacob?
I'm telling you,
it used to be wood shells.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
They actually put a little bit of foam in there, and it dampened the sound a little bit. The lighting, everything. I love the the showers calming. I mean, you got the sound, you got the sauna, you got were they drinking? Josh Jacobs had peach mango. You could add caffeine to it.
I'm trying one of those right now.
I need that right now. He said, this would be fire with some ice. Absolutely. I mean, just the little things, man. You're coming into work every day. And when you're working outside, Clay, where you spend the most money on your shoes, right? So that's what it's all about, right? You got to take care of your body.
Yeah. I'm excited, man. It's going to be a good year, dude. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, again, guys, let's see. Bungie says, answer the interview questions with all the right answers. Got it.
That's how he's saying how that explains why they drafted Golden.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Golden is I'm really excited about it. I love what Rich Bisaccia said, too. We covered it last night. He went to Golden and said he's calling him Bullet after Bullet Hayes, who played for the Dallas Cowboys. He's the fastest man in the world at the time, Olympic gold medalist, because he wore number 22 as well. So kind of gave him a little homework assignment. Go read up on Bob Bullet Hayes. So really, really cool.
Respect Orange says, anybody remember Fruitopia? I remember that.
Oh yeah,
as cancer in a can, baby. RFK. I gotta get that off the shelves.
No idea what you're talking about, Fruitopia.
Oh, buddy, Jacob, we made it all the way to the end, and you got us canceled at the end. Unbelievable.
Sorry, guys.
All right. That's it, guys. We're out. Thank y'all so much, man. The chat was on fire. Sorry for the little hiccup there at the beginning with StreamYard. We'll try to continue to work around the issues we're having there, but y'all were awesome in the chat. I want to give a special shout out to Josh Martin for the super chat as well as Clint the Armchair Quarterback gifting those 10 Packer Fan Total Access memberships. And again, if this was your first time tuning into PTA, I don't know how you made it to the end, but we're glad that you did. Feel free to sub to the channel and make sure you hit that bell for notifications. That way you're notified every time we go live, and you can go, okay, I'm staying away from that channel for the moment.
Right.
All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Again, we may get a random stream early in the day, and then we're going to go live tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Central Time as well. I want to give a shout-out to Trucker John's daughter, who was in the comments yesterday, just thanking us for all the kind words we had to say about her pops. And, it was a blessing to get to know John, and I say let's go win the whole damn thing for him this year, and that would be absolutely awesome. So, all right, everybody, have a great night. Please be safe out there, as we always say here on Friday night live streams. If you drink, don't drive. Do the watermelon crawl. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Take care.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.